Hello and welcome to this edition of the NBA Dynasty Series, the Chicago Bulls of the 1990s. I'm Spiro Ditas of NBA TV. On this special DVD collection, you'll relive all 6 of the Bulls championship seasons, along with some of the greatest games from each of their NBA finals. But to truly appreciate their run of 6 titles in 8 years, it helps to understand just how they got there. So let's take a look at Chicago's climb to the top of the NBA. The Bulls entered the league as an expansion franchise in 1966, coached by former NBA star Johnny Red Kerr. And they got off to a promising start, winning 33 games that first season, the most ever by an NBA expansion team. But over the next few years, the Bulls struggled. They couldn't get above the 500 mark and couldn't get past the first round of the playoffs. Still, they did have a solid building block in guard Jerry Sloan, a blue-collar star with a hard-nosed style who was named to the league's all-defensive first team 4 times in his career.
And I built as much as I could around Sloan. When I went to Chicago, I only had the one viable player. And I recognized that within 25 or 30 seconds that I had a diamond.
Chicago also added 2 high-scoring forwards, a smooth shooter named Bob Love, who would lead the team in scoring 7 straight years, and Chet Walker, a 7-time All-Star who had championship experience with the 1967 Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, I think we complement each other very well because he likes to set low. He likes to set low and start his game inside and move out. And most of the time, my game, I started outside. I would move down low.
Bob Love was probably the most underrated all-around forward that ever played a game in the 70s.
I always wanted to be a smart player, so all I would do all my career, I would hold the ball and I would fake, and if the guy didn't jump, I would shoot. And all my career, no one could ever figure that out.
And with head coach Dick Motta stressing defense, the Bulls were finally starting to build a winner.
As I reflect back, it was a great experience for me, and it was a lot better team than, and we did a lot better job than we even gave ourselves credit for. If you weren't ready to play, the Chicago Bulls had beat you.
The Chicago Bulls, the greatest high school team of all time, had there been no 24-second clock, I can categorically state they would have won at least 2 championships. The Dick Motta teams ran the clock better than any team, the most precise half-court offense of its time.
In 1971, they won 51 games, 3rd best in the league, and took the Lakers to 7 games in the Western Conference playoffs. The following year, Chicago acquired another scrappy guard, 3-time All-Star Norm Van Lier, who would join with Sloan to form the toughest backcourt of their time. And the Bulls continued to improve, but again were eliminated by the Lakers the next 2 seasons. In 1974, the Bulls made the playoffs for the 7th time in 8 years and finally made it past the first round, only to lose in the conference finals. By now, the Bulls had forged an identity based on toughness and defense, and their gritty, hard-working style was embraced by fans in the Windy City.
We didn't have large crowds a lot of times, but the fans who came out were really basketball fans, and they really appreciate the hustle that we gave them and stuff. You know, it was a great time.
Well, I think the fact that we knew that we weren't going to be handed something unless we worked for it and earned it, that's not anything complicated. There's no frills to it, and you're going about your business. People knew that we were going to try to do the best. We weren't always the best in any stretch of imagination, but we were always trying.
We had great teams, but we just couldn't win. We came that close a few times.
In 1975, they would bring in future Hall of Famer Nate Thurmond, who would help the Bulls to their first division title. They reached the Western Conference Finals and came within 1 game of the NBA Finals before losing to the eventual champions, the Golden State Warriors.
After we lost Western Finals to the Warriors, the team started to go through a transitional period.
The Bulls began to slide. Chet Walker retired, Coach Dick Motta departed, and Jerry Sloan and Bob Love soon followed. The Bulls of the late 70s became a team in disarray. They reshuffled players and coaches, but nothing could halt their decline into mediocrity. They did have some talent with dominating center Artis Gilmore, along with all-star guard Reggie Theus, one of the league's top scorers, and explosive forward Orlando Woolridge. Still, Chicago missed the playoffs 6 times in 7 years, hitting rock bottom in 1984 when they won just 27 games. But the dark cloud of that season had the best possible silver lining. That's because the Bulls wound up with the 3rd pick of the NBA draft, and that pick became the turning point for the franchise.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
And from that point on, Bulls basketball and the NBA itself would never be the same. The rest was history, and you'll see that history unfold as we bring you the Bulls 6 championship videos, beginning with the 1991 edition called Learning to Fly.